emotionally, it must be quite a journey going into the role of a manager, accepting the feedback and hearing the perception of your colleagues, your managers, with yourself and how you interact with them.
And even more so if you've come from the team. So we talk about people who were part of a team and then they're the ones who are promoted to a supervisor, that first move up into management. Really difficult. So you go home on a Friday and these are all your mates and you're part of the team. You come in on Monday and suddenly you're the supervisor and the manager. A really challenging time, and I think we say that's probably the most difficult move in management.
Yeah. And that's why lots of organisations, actually, when people are promoted, they make them move to a different team. The police force, for example, you're very rarely allowed to manage the team that you were once part of.
Yeah.
Because it does get in the way of those previous relationships and things like that. So yeah, real tough one. And actually, there's a little bit as well about a manager, being vulnerable is one of the things we talk about a lot in leadership. Be prepared to be human, to be fallible, to say, I don't know if that's working or not, tell me, and develop a culture where people feel comfortable to say, actually, Jill, that didn't quite work, or could you do this next time? So actually, but it's not a confrontational negative thing, it's positive.
Yep.
It says, that didn't quite sit right, can we do it differently next time? That's really hard to achieve, but really powerful when you do.
Yeah, definitely.
And if you are in a team and you are managing them, what are there hints and tips about delegating tasks the first time? So the first time you say to someone, can you do something, or ask them to do that, how would you suggest and help someone to do that?
Well, delegation is massive.
Yeah.
And I think most people understand that delegating is part of being a manager, but find it incredibly difficult to do. And one of the most fascinating conversations, I don't know if you agree, is what stops you delegating.
Yeah.
And it is, I could do it better myself, it takes too long.
They won't do it right.
Yeah. I don't know what will happen. I couldn't ask them to do it because they were already quite busy. And there's so many things that get in the way, and you've got to kind of unpick all of those and say, yep, completely get all of that, but actually you still need to be able to delegate in a way that benefits both. And that's the other thing is...
Absolutely. And we talk a lot about the difference between delegating work and allocating work. So actually, as a manager, it's your job to give the work out. So the work comes in and you give it to the most appropriate person to do it. Delegating makes it a bit more developmental. It's helping people do something they perhaps haven't done before, something they'll learn. And I find often you don't want to give them something because, it's a bit boring. But it might not be boring to them. It's something new, it's something that's interesting. And sometimes when people do that and they take that first step, and they go, oh God, they really enjoyed doing that. That's one less thing I have to do. And you're like, yeah, little successes. So I mean, delegation is huge. And I think culturally, it can take months or even years to get really comfortable with delegating effectively. I still don't think I do it very well half the time. I try, probably more than I had to, or more than I used to. Yeah. But certainly not as much as I could.
Yeah. So I over-delegate.
Yeah.
So I delegate more than I should. Yeah. And
anyone who knows Charlie and I will know we're opposites in most things.
Yeah. So very good case studies of how not to do it at both ends of the spectrum. But so it's a really difficult one, delegating. And there are top tips and there is a process, and certainly in our programmes we will go through that. But it's getting through all the mindset stuff. That's so much of management is we know what to do, but what stops us doing it? Yeah. And that's one thing that's probably worth mentioning about, you come on a training course, someone teaches you how to delegate, they go through the process. You're not going to learn it until you do it. Yeah. And you've got to do it regularly. And it's going away thinking, okay, I now know what I should be doing. How am I going to do it? How am I going to measure that? And it's that habit forming that starts to make it more relevant. Yeah, and being prepared to get it wrong.
Yes. Yep. Yeah.